Hello and welcome to Sega News Bits Extra. I'm Barry, with me is George.
Hello everybody.
And we are going to be talking about 3 stories this week, as well as some Oscar buzz. So let's kick things off. Wonder Boy Returns is receiving a physical release on the PS4, and this is coming from Strictly Limited Games. That's the headline, and that's pretty much the story. We don't know too much else except that they said that January 27th is when pre-orders will be going live on their site. George, did you play this game?
I haven't played this game, but like you said in the article, this is more of the old school Wonder Boy, the kind of Mario platforming one. And what I find interesting about this whole thing is that this company, Strictly Limited Games, is doing 2 versions of it. I saw on their website they had a regular standard version and a collector's edition. And outside of all that, isn't it kind of funny that we're having the rise of limited run publishers? Like, limited run games got so big that they have copycats. They're getting pretty decent titles. I mean, this Wonder Boy went under the radar, like you said, and I think that's why it's on, it's not on limited run games, it's on Strictly Limited Games. It
definitely shows that Strictly Limited is not up there with limited run just because they got this game. This is definitely lower tier when it comes to the Wonder Boy titles.
It totally does, but I just think it's hilarious that, like, it's so easy to start a publishing company that, like, people are actually doing it and it's working. Like, Limited Run Games is ran by like 2 dudes, 3 dudes when it started, and now they're like this huge brand name that it's getting games inside of Best Buy. So it's cool to see this influence in the publishing realm shake things up, especially physically, that more companies are moving away from. But I like this story, so I might pick it up physically, even if the game's not great, just to have another Sega game on my collection, or Sega IP game.
Yeah, definitely, and you'd have 3 Wonder Boy games in the past few years, which is surprising. Like, that's more than I think Sonic has had.
Yep, that's true.
So, this next story, Yakuza Kiwami releases to PC on February 19th. Pre-orders are now open. This is something we knew was coming, it's just a question of when, and Sega announced that on January 22nd as we record this, which is today, and it's cool. It's great that these games are hitting PC now. If you pre-order it, you get 10% off and you get a digital bundle. Nothing to make this essential purchase if you already have the PS4 version, but I think just supporting Yakuza on PC is a great thing, so if you have the platform, it's worth picking up. Also, isn't it 60 frames per second, or like you can like beef it up with your PC?
Yeah, well, you could also make it 4K and you could run it on multiple monitors, do a bunch of crazy stuff. But there's one feature that Sega is not talking about right now, but there's been this controversy with Sega and the Nouveau piece DRM, and somebody actually posted today that if you look at there's this website where it shows you developer changes for video games, and that's how they found out about Sonic Mania Plus, because they did it on Steam. They updated it. They had a folder where they were working on it. Well, this time with Yakuza Kiwami, they actually took away the DRM, so we might have the first Sega Euro PC game coming out, or port, without the DRM that everybody hates. So this might be a positive thing for Sega, and I think they should talk about it more on their social media. If they're actually going to take it away, I think they should make a big deal about it, saying, we heard the fans, and we agree with you guys. We don't want this DRM in our games, even though I think it's because they ran out of the subscription service and they decided not to renew it. That's what I think.
Right. Well, that's cool. Well, good for them. This last story you wrote, but I'll cover it here. So it's Street Fighter II Bloody Edition, and it's a Sega Genesis ROM hack. It was just released. So this thing, it's just like bloody, right? It's just a bloody version of the game.
They changed a little bit of things, like they say the menu bar so it could be more like the original game, because the Sega Genesis version was different. It's obviously based on Street Fighter II Champion Edition, which is controversially not well liked, and then it is well liked by some people. Like, I don't know if it's a good version of the game or not. I'm always confused with the console versions. I always say just play the arcade version, to be honest. But this version, it has blood in it, and I think they made like small, like the light moves, they made them slower for some reason, and then they like messed around with damage and they added blood. It's like a new version of Street Fighter 2. If you're bored and you just want to play a bloody Street Fighter 2 version, this is it. Bring your Mortal Kombat friends from your schoolyard and tell them, Street Fighter has blood now, dude. Check this out.
Nice.
But yeah, did you ever remember those schoolyard days when people... were you ever into fighting games growing up?
Not really, no. But I remember the conversations kids would have with like about Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and I never knew where I fell. I think I liked Primal Rage.
Primal Rage. People are gonna be talking so much smack about you, Barry.
Oh well, I'm not perfect. And then we're gonna end this episode talking about something not Sega related. So we're just gonna talk about the 2019 Oscar picks real quick. So we've got Black Panther. We have another Black.
You laugh, dude.
Well, I'm just saying we went from Black Panther to Black Klansman, and then Bohemian Rhapsody. I've never heard of this one. The Favorite. I've never heard of this one. Green Book. I've never heard of this one. Roma. A Star is Born, and Vice. So, I don't know, honestly, I think it's a pretty boring list, and I also think Black Panther was just tossed in there to get people to watch.
Yeah, it's the first comic book movie, and I think a lot of people online were saying that it should have been Infinity War, and I'm not a huge Marvel fan. The way they shoot their movies, I don't think are, like, really well directed, or I'm like, oh my god, the framing, the setting, it's incredible. I never really thought that when I watched a Marvel movie. I'm just having fun, I'm enjoying the writing, but it's not about the picture. Definitely not Black Panther. And then now there's a joke on the internet saying that like last year they said there wasn't enough black representation. Now they have 2 movies that just say black on the name, I guess. I mean, I did watch Black Klansman though, and I did see Black Panther, and I have seen. That's about it. Sorry, those 2 movies. So
I think you've seen more Best Picture picks than me. I was gonna see Vice, and then I just didn't get around to it. And I haven't seen Black Panther.
Okay, so you haven't seen Black Panther. It's just an average Marvel movie. It doesn't do anything special like Infinity War did.
Right.
Black Klansman's alright. The writing isn't all that great, but it is well directed, and there is some nice shots, and there's some really good comedic moments. But if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the whole movie. That's all I gotta say about that movie. And I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but I want to watch it. I do like Queen, but I heard this is like just a PG-13 friendly version of the story of their past. So I'm not sure about that. But I was kind of hoping you were going to recommend me a movie here.
I was just going to say, out of those Best Pictures, nothing jumps out to me. I think because like this year there's no like Scorsese movie, there's no Tarantino movie. Like I'm not seeing any movies from big name directors here, you know? Like I couldn't tell you who made any of these.
This year we're gonna have a Quentin Tarantino movie and another movie with Jordan Peele and some other movies coming out this year. So this year's might be better later on, or what do they call it? 2020 nominations.
Yeah. The 2020 nominees I think will be a lot stronger, and I think the movies in general. I would say if you haven't seen it, I think it's up for writing adapted screenplay. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs on Netflix. I like that a lot.
I watched it. I love it. Yeah. I love how it's short stories. And I've been reading Blood Meridian, a cowboy book. So now I'm watching a movie. Like I watched it a few nights, like earlier this week. Because people were telling me you gotta watch it, and I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. It really caught me by surprise. It's a good movie. Yeah.
Well, what would you say is your favorite movie of the past year, from January to January?
Can I say Aquaman? No, I can't say Aquaman. No, it wasn't Aquaman.
You can say Aquaman.
I haven't seen enough movies for me to make up my mind. I'm trying to really think, and I'm like, yeah, I would say that the cowboy movie, the Ballad of Buster Screen. Even though he wasn't in the movie that long, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
I would say.
I'd say that was a fun one. I liked Aquaman, and I liked Solo. So, I mean, but those are picks. Yeah, but those are picks where I think most people are like, yeah, I saw those. There's no deep cuts this year. I can't think of anything where I'm like, well, I saw a movie that you've never seen. But anyway, but that's our Oscar talk, and that's our extra. So we'll see you again
next week.
Next week.
And if you want to recommend me any movies to watch out of this that are being nominated that are actually good, let me know, because I haven't seen almost anything this year. Bye.
Bye.